Your alarm goes off. You silence it. You're already running late. You grab your bag. You grab your keys. You walk out the door with an empty stomach, and you tell yourself you'll eat later. You've been told this is a mistake. You've been told breakfast is the most important meal of the day. But the real answer is far stranger than a slogan on a cereal box. For most of human history, there was no such thing as breakfast at all. Think about that for a second. Not a culture that skipped it. Not a generation that forgot it. An entire species for most of its existence, with no concept of a morning meal. So where did the idea even come from? And what is actually happening inside you when you don't eat right away? To understand this, you have to go back. Not decades, not centuries, hundreds of thousands of years. Early humans didn't wake up to a fridge. They woke up to a problem. Food had to be found, tracked, dug up, or fought for. Mornings were not for eating. Mornings were for moving. Your body still remembers this even if you don't. Inside you right now is a system called the circadian rhythm. It's a clock, but not the kind on your wall. It's a biological clock, running in nearly every cell, set by light, by darkness, by movement, and yes, by food. Neuroscientist Sachin Panda, who has spent decades studying this internal clock at the Salk Institute, has shown something remarkable. Your body doesn't just respond to what you eat. It responds to when you eat. Your liver, your muscles, even your gut bacteria shift their behavior depending on the hour. In the early morning before you've eaten anything, your body is not panicking. It's adapting. Here's what's actually happening. Overnight, your insulin levels drop. Your body begins tapping into stored energy, mostly from your liver, in a process called glycogenolysis. Glycogen, a stored form of sugar, gets broken down and released into your bloodstream to keep your brain fueled. Your brain, by the way, is hungry all the time. It uses roughly 20% of your daily energy, even though it's only about 2% of your body weight. But it doesn't need breakfast specifically. It needs fuel from wherever fuel is available. And for a few hours, your own stored reserves can handle that job perfectly well. This is where the myth starts to crack. You were told that skipping breakfast slows your metabolism. You were told your body goes into starvation mode within hours of waking up. But researcher James Betts at the University of Bath ran a controlled study testing exactly this claim. He split participants into two groups. One group ate breakfast every morning, the other group skipped it entirely. Both groups were tracked for weeks. The results surprised a lot of people. There was no significant difference in resting metabolic rate between the groups. No dramatic metabolic shutdown. No biological alarm bells. What did differ was behavior, not biology. People who skipped breakfast moved slightly less in the morning, then sometimes compensated with extra snacking later. The effect wasn't about a switch flipping inside your metabolism. It was about habits, environment, and what you did with the rest of your day. So why does the warning feel so true? Why does it feel like skipping breakfast must be dangerous? Because for a long time, it was profitable to make you believe that. In the early 20th century, breakfast cereal companies needed people to buy a product nobody had needed for most of history. Marketing campaigns, some funded directly by cereal manufacturers, helped popularize the phrase, the most important meal of the day. Nutrition advice and advertising blurred together. The line between health science and sales pitch became almost invisible. That doesn't mean breakfast is bad. It means the certainty around it was manufactured, not discovered. Now here's the twist that makes this even stranger. While breakfast itself might not be biologically mandatory, the timing of your eating window absolutely matters. This is where the science gets interesting again. Researcher Mark Mattson, formerly at the National Institute on Aging, has spent years studying what happens when humans compress their eating into a shorter window each day, rather than eating constantly from morning to night. His research suggests that giving your body extended periods without food, whether that means delaying breakfast or simply not eating late into the night, can trigger beneficial cellular processes. One of these is autophagy. It's a strange word, but the concept is simple. Autophagy is your body's internal cleanup crew. Cells start breaking down and recycling damaged components when they're not constantly busy digesting incoming food. Skip a meal, and you're not starving your cells. In some cases, you're giving them maintenance time. This isn't permission to ignore hunger forever. It's a reframe. Your body isn't fragile the moment a meal is delayed. It's remarkably adaptive, built by hundreds of thousands of years of unpredictable food access. Think about your ancestors again. A hunter walking for hours before finding anything to eat. A forager waiting for fruit to ripen. None of them had a guaranteed breakfast. And yet the species survived, thrived, and spread across every continent on Earth. If skipping a morning meal were truly catastrophic, evolution would have punished it out of existence long ago. Instead, your body built in flexibility. It built in backup systems. It built in the ability to function, focus, and even perform well on an empty stomach. There's a reason for that too. Some researchers point to an idea called the hunger sharpens focus theory. When food is scarce, a foggy, sluggish brain is a liability. A sharp, alert brain that can track prey or locate food is an advantage. So your body, under mild fasting conditions, often releases more norepinephrine, a chemical that increases alertness rather than draining it. That's why some people report feeling clearer, not weaker, when they delay their first meal. It's not magic, it's an old survival mechanism, still running quietly in the background of your modern life. So does this mean you should skip breakfast? Not necessarily, that's not the point. The real point is this. Your body was never waiting for a bowl of cereal at 7 a.m. It was waiting for fuel whenever that fuel arrived. The rigid rule wasn't written in your biology. It was written in a marketing meeting. What actually matters, according to most of the modern research, isn't whether you eat within the first hour of waking up. It's the overall pattern. Consistent sleep, movement. Not eating too late into the night when your circadian rhythm expects rest, not digestion. The quality of what you eventually do eat whenever that is. Your body adapted to flexibility, not to a fixed morning ritual. And maybe that's the part that should change how you think about your own mornings. Not as a test you're failing if you don't eat fast enough. Not as a metabolic emergency waiting to happen. But as a system inherited from hundreds of thousands of years of survival, that is far more resilient than a slogan ever gave it credit for. So tomorrow when your alarm goes off and you're rushing out the door with an empty stomach, you don't have to feel like you're breaking some ancient rule. You're following one